The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning or afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh. I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's BNI Connect webinar is about the member tools and reports in BNI Connect. So what we're going to do is we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the system and take a look at some of the menus and some of the things that are available that you might not have seen before. Also talk about some of the benefits of some of these reports and the things that you can use to help get more out of your membership. A couple of housekeeping things. This is a live webinar, so that means that as we're going through and I'm showing you things, please do feel free to ask questions. The best way to do that is through the questions panel in the GoToWebinar software. You should see a place where that you can type questions in. I will see those pop up on my screen as we're going along, and either I can answer them as we're going through that, or if it's something different, I can answer it towards the end of the webinar. The webinar is scheduled for about 30 minutes of content, and I do try to end the content portion right away at the bottom of the hour in case anybody needs to get off and go back to their daily jobs and their daily lives. I will, however, leave the webinar open for as many questions as you would like to ask, so I'm happy to stay on the line with you guys as long as you have questions. The entire webinar is being recorded. It will be made available on our YouTube site. If you go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global, you will find all of our recorded content. There's well over 100 videos up there, not just webinars that we've done over the past year or two. There's also educational moments, 3-minute videos regarding certain things about BNI that you can actually use at your chapters if you'd like to. There's also special messages from Dr. Meisner and other special presentations, all up there on the YouTube channel. The other place that you can find this stuff is on the support site. If you go to support.bniconnect.com, support.bniconnect.com, you'll find all of the help documents, including recorded webinars up there. So you'll see our list of upcoming webinars. And then if you scroll down a little bit into the chapter training and documentation section, you'll see a forum in there called recorded webinars. And here they're conveniently done month by month. So if you click on a month, you'll see all of the webinars that were recorded for that month. You can play them right through here or navigate over to the YouTube site to watch them. There's also tons of other documentation in there for just about every function that you can find in BNI Connect with nice walkthroughs. So for example, for emailing a visitor invitation, which we'll take a look at today, it'll show you the step-by-step documents with screenshots and click-throughs and explanations. So feel free to browse the support site as well. So let's get into today's topic. Again, we're going to talk about the member tools and reports. Now, this is all located in the members only section of BNI Connect, so you do have to sign in with your username and password. Once you get into BNI Connect, this is your home screen or the landing page. We also refer to it as the My BNI Business page. And this is your first indication of statistics. So this has your POMS report, your personal POMS report for the last 12 months and your lifetime. And also the ability to work with the online slips, so submitting slips and reviewing slips that you've submitted online. We're going to look at some of the other functions in BNI Connect today, though. If you notice along the top, you'll see a bunch of menus. Now, depending on your permissions in the system, you may see some of these things, you may see all of these things. But you'll see these menus along the top, and we have Network, Operations, Reports, Tools, and Admin. Most people, if you're a user, just a member in BNI Connect, you'll see Network, Operations, and Reports most likely. So what they refer to is the different areas of BNI Connect. Network has to do with all of the different social media functions, so working with the groups, the group discussions. Also a way to go in and manage your connections, which is kind of like your inside address book of other BNI members that you've connected with. Testimonials, and a picture gallery for your profile. Operations is where you would do stuff in BNI Connect. So generally speaking, where you're looking to input data into BNI Connect. Things like managing your chapter meeting, inputting the POMS report, and there's a couple of tools for all members as well, which I'm going to show you in just a couple of minutes. Now, reports, on the other hand, is where you're going to get the information back out of BNI Connect. As you know, we keep track of a whole bunch of statistics in BNI Connect, so not just the chapter rosters and the membership dues reports, we also have the many statistics and training reports and all sorts of things that you have access to as a member. And we'll take a look at not all of the reports because there's quite a few of them, but some of my favorite reports that I'd like to share with you guys. So the first place I'd like to take you is into the Operations menu. Now the Operations menu, again, you're going to go to Operations and then Chapter. So Operations and Chapter. And in here, you'll see a bunch of different options. Now, again, everything in BNI Connect is done by regional permissions. So if you see a menu in here or you see a menu on my screen that you don't see in your own screen, it's because you either don't have the role for it. For example, if you might not see Manage Visitors unless you're a visitor host, you might not see Meeting Management unless you are a Vice President or unless you're a Secretary Treasurer. If there is something that you see today on the call that you think that you should have access to, please do talk to your regional office or your executive director, and they'd be able to work with you to get you the appropriate permissions or explain why they're not there. So on this page, we'll see we have Manage Visitor, Meeting Management, Manage Memberships, Manage Goals, the Mentoring Program, and Create an Email, and Manage News. A couple of things that I want to show you here on this screen. The first section I want to show you is this Create Email here. And there's a couple of useful tools for members in this Create Email function. When you click on Create Email, you'll see three things on the right-hand side. Email My Chapter, Email Visitor Invitation, and Email Chapter Visitors. The first thing is the Email My Chapter. Now, one thing that we've always struggled with in BNI, and I'm a member, by the way. I'm a member of the Wakefield chapter here in the Rhode Island region. I've been a member since 2002, so just about 12 years now. Been president, I've been vice president, been educational coordinator. One thing that I've always struggled with is getting in touch with my entire chapter. So, as chapter president currently, if I need to get a message out to all of my members, the typical way to do that is to go through your email and try to find your last group email and maybe hit reply all to that. But as we all know, that doesn't always go to the right people. A lot of times there'll be a new member that's joined in the past couple of weeks that might not have been on that list, or there's people that have left the chapter that shouldn't be getting that email any longer. What the Email My Chapter does is it will give you a list of all of the email addresses for the members in your chapter. So what you can do then is to highlight them. You can hit Control-C on your keyboard or right-click and choose Copy, and you can paste them into your own email program. So I happen to use Outlook, so what I could do is open up a new email message here in Outlook. I usually put things into the BCC line, type out my email, and click Send, and this message will go out to all of the members in my chapter. So it's an easy way to make sure that you're sending your message out to the right people. Now the second thing on this Create Email list is Email Visitor Invitation. So one thing that we sometimes struggle with as members is inviting people to come and visit our chapter. Either we go to a networking event or something like that and we invite somebody there. Sometimes we struggle with what to say. Do we tell them too much information about BNI? Do we tell them not enough information about BNI? Oh, you know what? I can't remember where our chapter meets. I know we meet at the Elks Lodge, but I don't know what the address is, so you're not going to be able to put it into your GPS. Well, what we've done is we've come up with a way to send an email invitation that has all the information in it that you need to give over to the potential visitor. Just click on Email Visitor Invitation. And it's kind of like a little Mad Libs. You just need to fill out a couple of pieces of information. So let's say that I'm inviting John Smith from Smith Co. to the chapter. I type in their email address. Now I'm going to type in my own email address here so that I receive the copy of this email. Now you can send one to yourself if you'd like to see what it looks like. This is just a simple way to send a template, brand appropriate invitation. It does not store the email addresses anywhere. There's no tracking mechanisms with it. They're not being subscribed to any email lists or newsletters or anything like that. It's just a quick template that will send out a message. The next thing you want to do is put a personal message in here. Now the personal message is going to be the first paragraph in this email template that gets automatically generated. So you want to put something of your own design in there. Maybe you want to put in, we are having an open house at our chapter, and I would love for you to attend. You can put in something like, oh, it was great meeting you at the networking event. I'd love for you to visit my chapter. Here's all the information you need to come to the meeting. Whatever it is to make this email your own. Now, once I click send, it will take that information, take the email address, and insert that into a new email and send it out. Now, that email does go out immediately, and I've already received it here in my own email, and this is what the email looks like. Now, if anybody's familiar with the postcards that we've been using for a couple of years here in BNI, this is actually the postcard graphic. So you can see it's an invitation, has some good statistics about networking. It then starts out the email with, Dear John. There's my opening paragraph here. We're having an open house at our chapter, and I'd love for you to attend. It then inserts the rest of the information that's automatically part of the email. So it puts in the name of your chapter, where you meet, the address, what day of the week you meet, and what time you meet. It then gives a little bit of information about BNI and also lets them know to please RSVP back with you so that they know that they're attending. Signs it from you and from your company name. And if you hit reply to this, this email will go back to your email address. So you as the sender of the email, they hit reply, it goes back to you, so you can have a conversation with this particular member or this particular potential visitor. And then it'll bring us back to the home screen. Now the other relatively new function in here, in the operations menu, is the ability to, once you've invited that visitor, visitors can be pre-registered to attend the meeting. So let's say that this visitor comes back to you, says, yeah, you know what, I'd love to attend that meeting. You can pre-register them for your next BNI meeting or for any BNI meeting in the future. Now the way to do that is right under this operations chapter menu again. The very first option here is Manage Visitor. And you should see an option there that says Register a Prospective Visitor. And what you can do is pre-register your visitors for an upcoming meeting. All you need to do is to fill out the details of this visitor. So anything with an asterisk is required, including what date they're going to be visiting. And note that you can only choose meeting days in the future. You can fill out as much of the company information and address details that you might have access to at the time. And you do need to make sure that you put in the email address for that person. And it's really important to put the email address in because what this does is it starts a couple of automated emails that happen. And this is all designed to help to increase the number of visitors that come to the meeting. One of those things that it does is it sends out a confirmation email to that visitor, letting them know, hey, thank you for registering to visit this chapter on this particular day. So now there's an expectation that they will be at the meeting. It also sends them a reminder 2 days before the chapter meeting. It says, just a reminder, you're registered to visit this chapter on such and such a date. Please bring lots of business cards. The other thing it does that's really cool is that it also notifies various people in your chapter that you have a visitor coming. So the leadership team, the president, the vice president, the secretary treasurer, all of the visitor hosts for the chapter, and your director consultant will get an email letting them know that a visitor is attending. Now this is really powerful because it does then give you the opportunity to pre-follow up with the visitors. You may want to call them ahead of time and say, oh, it's great that you registered for the meeting. Looking very forward to seeing you at this chapter meeting. By the way, I noticed that you're an electrician. You know, our plumber and general contractor have been looking for an electrician for a long time. Can't wait to introduce them to you. So again, that is register a prospective visitor. And you can also register for a meeting on your regional websites. So those are the main things that I wanted to show you in the operations menu. There are some other great tools in here, especially for leadership teams, such as creating chapter goals, which automatically get populated with statistics from the PALMS report. There's also the mentoring program, which sends out automated emails to a mentor and a mentee for the 8-week mentoring process. And there's other tools for entering PALMS reports and for managing the speaker rotation as well for leadership teams. I'd like to move over to the reports now, though, because the reports is where you can get a lot more information out of BNI Connect. If I go to Reports Chapter, we'll see that there's a whole boatload of reports in here. I'm not going to go through all of them today. I'm just going to highlight a couple of them that I feel are the most important reports that you might get some immediate benefit out of, though you're welcome to go through and look at any of these reports. And of course, if you ever have any questions about them, just let me know and I'm happy to help you. So the first report on here is a pretty obvious one. It's called the Chapter Roster Report. If we click on the Chapter Roster Report, this is going to, well, show us the roster for our chapter. What's great about this report, though, is it does give us some additional information as well. So at the bottom here, you can see we have 45 members, and all of the members are listed here in alphabetical order. You can sort anything that has an underline, so if I wanted to sort by classification, or sort by the company name, or sort by first name instead of last name, I could do that through the report here. It gives us their classification, it gives us their phone number, so we could give them a call. It also gives a quick view of the PALMS report for the last 90 days. So for those of you that might be on a membership committee or part of the leadership team, this will give you a nice quick view of the PALMS report for the last 90 days along with the membership. But what's great about this report as well is the information that's at the top of the report here. And at the top of the report, we can see who's listed in the chapter leadership and a way to get in touch with them. So if you need to get in touch with your secretary-treasurer, you need to talk to the educational coordinator because you have a great idea for an educational moment, or maybe you need to discuss something with the membership committee. You can use this report to find out who is part of the membership committee or part of any of these positions and give them a call. It also has the contact information for your director. So if you do have a matter that you need to discuss with your director consultant, their contact information is right here on the chapter roster report. Now, all of the reports in BNI Connect, they can be either printed by clicking on the print button. You can print these out. Or you can also export them. So you can export them to Excel by clicking the export button. This will download the report to your computer, which you can then open it up in Excel. This gives you much more flexibility as far as if you want to sort things or total things or move things around or change the way it looks when it's printed, highlight certain things. That's all best done by exporting it into Excel. So the member training report, that's going to show you who's attended various trainings. The membership dues report is similar to the roster report, but it does show you which people are coming up for renewal, especially helpful for membership committees and leadership teams. The next one I want to show you, though, is the meeting notes report. And the meeting notes report is a cool little tool. It's a very, very simplistic report. If I click go on this, really all it is a 3-column report that has members' names, their company, and a place to keep notes. Now what's cool about this report is that if you click print, you can use this to physically take notes at a meeting. The power behind this is that it does help you to generate referrals for other members of your chapter. The best way to be able to generate referrals, besides having one-to-ones with members, is to make sure that you're paying attention during their sales manager minutes. By taking notes, it can help you remember throughout the week what it is that they're looking for and hopefully be able to generate a referral. Now, this report's useful this way just by printing it on paper, but if you find that you're either an electronic person, you like to take notes on your laptop or on your tablet or your iPad at the meeting, what you may want to do is to export this so that you can type into the form. Now, on some of the reports, you'll also see another button here that says Export Without Headers. Now, when you do a regular export, it's going to include all the things like this information up at the top, when you ran the report, the parameters of the report. If you choose Export Without Headers, what it does, it just makes a flat Excel file without any merged cells or anything like that. So it makes it easier to manipulate that report once you have it in Excel. So, for example, this meeting notes report could be very helpful to take electronic notes during a meeting. I'm going to choose Export Without Headers. I'm going to open this report up. And now this allows me to format this very quickly. I can go in, let's say I wanted to do some conditional formatting, or I wanted to format this as a table. So I can cross-highlight all of the various fields and then be able to sort by it. Say I wanted to sort by first name instead. I could then, maybe I need more room to take notes, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up so I have more room. Then I'll be able to use this in a little bit more friendly fashion for taking notes during the meeting. Could also print this out and hand it around the chapter before a chapter meeting so that everybody could take notes during the meeting. Now, the Summary Palms report, it's the heart and soul of the statistics for our chapters. With the Summary Palms report, you can choose any date range you'd like. You can choose the last, it's going to be the last completed 6 months by default, so September through the end of February. But if you want to look at the last year or the last 5 years or the last 10 years, you can choose to do that if you'd like to too, just by changing the date. So let's say I want to go back a couple of years instead. I'm going to go back to January 1st of 2010, and I want to look through the current week. So I'm going to look from January 1st through the current week and click Go. And we'll see our PALMS report. Now, of course, PALMS stands for present, absent, late, medical, and substitute. RGI stands for referrals given inside, or Tier 1 referrals. That's when one member of the chapter refers themselves to another member of the chapter. So in other words, the business stays within the membership or inside the chapter. RGO is an outside referral given, or when I refer anybody else that I know outside of that room to a member of my chapter. RRI and RRO are received inside referrals and received outside referrals. V is for visitors. One-to-ones are for one-to-one meetings. TYFCB stands for Thank You for Closed Business, and that is keeping track of business that you have generated for other members within the chapter. And CEUs, which are Chapter Education Units, which is how much continued learning you're doing in your membership. Learn more to earn more. Now we can scroll down here and take a look through. This does include anybody that has been a member since 2010. So we may see some people on this list that are no longer members of the chapter, and that's just because during this period of time, at one point, they were a member of the chapter, so it is showing those people in here. Now, in one of the next recent releases, we are going to have the ability to not show the dropped members and just show current members. But for now, they will all be listed. And of course, at the bottom, there will be a total, so you can see the total amount of all of these columns. If you want to do more things like sorting and highlighting and analyzing the report, I do recommend exporting without headers, and you'll have a nice spreadsheet to work with. Now the next report I want to show you guys is the Classifications Not in Chapter report. This report is exactly what it says. It's going to show you a list of all of the different categories that are not filled in your chapter. Now this is a great report because it really helps you to open your eyes as to maybe different ideas for people that you might want to invite to come and visit your group. On the left-hand side, it's going to show us which classifications our chapter doesn't have. So right now we do not have a printer in our group. We do not have anybody that works with a bank or a cleaning professional or a plumber or payroll services. These are all categories that we are indeed looking to fill in our chapter. What's great about this, though, is that it's ranking these by the number of other chapters in my region that have this category filled. Now, why that's important is it does tell me a couple of important things. It tells me that printing is a very popular category in this region. There's 10 other chapters in our area that have printers. That means that when we invite a printer, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to want to join. A, because it's successful, and B, because that category is already filled in other chapters. Now, along with the summary POMS report, you also can do a personal POMS report. And what this does is it just takes one name from your chapter, and it runs the POMS report with just that one person in it. So this is really helpful if you just want to see your personal statistics over a course of time, or if you're on the membership committee and you're reviewing a renewal perhaps, and you'd like to look at another member's history over a period of time. So let's say that I wanted to pull my own figures and just see my own information, and I wanted to look back from 2004. Let's say I want to go back to 2002 when I first joined, and I want to look through current. So for the past 12 years. I can click Go, and we can scroll through, and what we're seeing is week by week what was entered for me in the POMS report. So I can maybe see some trends when I had some hot periods, when I had some slow periods. And of course, all the way at the bottom, there will be a total column to show me exactly how many things of all of these different categories I have. The member details report is a good report because it allows you to do things like a gains exchange before a one-to-one meeting. What the member details report will do is it'll show you the member bio, the gains, their commercials, or the TOPS profile for any of the members in your chapter, including yourself. So let's say that I'm going to be doing a one-to-one with somebody in my chapter. I might want to click on their gains profile ahead of time, choose them from the list, and click Go. Now I can read their gains profile. I can also go through and read their bio if I'd like to, read their TOPS profile, or even read their commercials in order to get a little bit more information about them before that one-to-one meeting. For you secretary-treasurers that are on the line, this is also no longer have to chase people down to fill out that piece of paper as their introduction before their 10-minute. You can just pull this report, and as long as they have the information filled out in BNI Connect, you can use this information. And of course, you can also export it and print it if you need to, if you'd like to physically exchange them, either by email or on a piece of paper. Now, remember how we registered a visitor before? There's also a report to show how many visitors are registered for upcoming meetings. And that's the visitor registration report. We can choose a period of time and click Go. So we can see the visitors that are registered for a meeting, who they were invited by, what their specialty is, and we can use this to pre-follow up with visitors as well as the email. All right, so we are at the bottom of the hour. For those of you that do need to leave right away, I do want to thank everybody for being here on the webinar with us. We did get through most of the reports in the system, but I do encourage you to go back through and start clicking on reports. If you have any questions about anything, anywhere you see a question mark next to the menu item, that will bring you to the specific help topic for that function. Some of them have videos in them, and all of them will have a walkthrough, guide, explanation, diagram within that particular help topic. It opens up in a new window, so just close it to go right back. Again, this webinar is being recorded. I'm happy to open this up for questions now, so if you do have any questions, please do input them now, and I'd be happy to answer them. Sean says, excellent job and very informative. So thank you, Sean. Very glad that you were here with us today. So where will the recording be? The recording will be in two different places. Again, it will be on our YouTube channel. So go to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. You'll find them there, or click on this question mark in BNI Connect, and that will take you to our support site. And on the support site, you can see the recorded webinars in the chapter training and documentation. You'll see all of the recordings listed here, and you can review any of those at any time. I would also love it, just a side note, if you could like our Facebook page, facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. We do all sorts of things up here. We do webinar announcements and reminders and upgrade announcements and tips and tricks and all sorts of things up here. So please do like us on our Facebook page and share those statuses so that we can invite other people to these webinars as well as they're happening. All right, let's see. Michael says, appreciate the info, and you're very welcome. Karen says, can VPs unlock a POMS report? And Karen, I know that you're an executive director. That depends on how you have the permissions set up in your region. So generally speaking, that is available in the system. By default, it is turned on that they are allowed to do that. Now, the way to unlock a POMS report is to go to Operations, Chapter, and we're going to go to Meeting Management, and we're going to view a POMS summary. We're going to put in a date and look at the reports. Now, any of the reports that are completed, we could click on that report, and if the VP is allowed to, if they have the permissions to do so, what they'll see is at the bottom of this completed report, a button that says Unlock POMS. This will put it back into a draft status, which means that they'll be able to go in and edit it, make any changes that might be necessary, and then resave it and reclose it out. So again, generally speaking, that is allowed, but if they're not seeing that button, that means that it has been disabled in your particular region. I'd be happy to offline show you how to adjust that permission. You just need to shoot me an email, support@bniconnect.com, and I'd be happy to help you with that. All right. Do we have any other questions? That was the only other question that I had listed there. Again, it could be on this information or anything else in the system. If you have a question, please post it now. As Dr. Meisner always said, the only silly question is the unasked question. Let's see. Susan says, can you go over how to obtain more CEUs? And another CEU question right on top of it. Andrea says, can we get CEU credit for these webinars? to register the CEU credit, go back to your home screen and click on Submit CEU Slips. What you'll notice here is BNI Webinar is the second option down here. So you would want to go ahead and put yourself in for 1 credit for a BNI podcast or a BNI webinar, and you would get that CEU credit. Now, also, I think this will also answer your question, Susan, and here's other ways that you can officially earn CEU credits. And you can listen to BNI CDs. Your regional office should have some BNI CDs. Most regional offices have libraries of recorded material. Also, SuccessNet, the newsletter SuccessNet from BNI comes out every month. After you've completed reading that SuccessNet newsletter, please do give yourself a credit for that. You can also attend the Member Success Program, which is worth 2 credits. Attending leadership team training, most regions are going through that right now in March. Advanced BNI training modules, there are a number of different types of trainings that many regions offer throughout the year. I know in our region we do some advanced one-to-one trainings, we do advanced member success program trainings, referral training, all sorts of things. Other endorsed networking workshops are also listed here, and reading any of the BNI books. So those are all different ways to get additional CEU credits. Your region may have additional ways. I'd recommend talking to your director consultant or to your executive director for other ideas. Does that help, Susan and Andrea? So Karen says, how do members link emails in BNI to their outside emails? So there's a couple of different things here. Most of the emails that are in the system go to your real email address. So, for example, when I used that Email My Chapter tool, that is a list of their actual real live email addresses. When you use any of these automated emails, like if you get a notification for a visitor, that goes to their real live email address. The system sends that email out. So there's really no linking. The important thing is that they just have an email address listed on their profile. And that's done under the My Accounts in the upper right-hand corner. And if I click on the tab that looks like a telephone, that's the Contact Details tab, we want to make sure that a valid email address is listed in here. That is going to be where all of those communications go to. Again, all the automated emails, the email address that may be listed on your profile or listed in other places. So there really is no linking. It's just an email address. Now there are other things, certain other notifications in the system that were intended originally as internal notifications. For example, we have this network social media function here, which is an internal messaging system for your contacts. Now, you can link that one so that it goes to your regular email as a notification. You do that on this Account Settings tab. On the Account Settings tab, at the bottom, you can choose which of these different types of notifications for social media functions you wish to get to your external email address. So, you have the BNI Connected Messages, also connection requests and recommendation or testimonial requests. You can have all of those forwarded to your regular email as well to give you a notification to log back in. And it's the same thing with the group posts. So the discussion groups, you can choose to get notifications about those as well. So does that answer your question, Karen? All right, what other questions do you guys have? All right, if there's no additional questions, I would like to thank everybody for being here today. A good referral for me is to please go back to your chapters. If you found something useful in today's presentation, please let them know about these webinars. I'd love to have more people attending the webinars and get all the information out of our heads and into yours. Also pass along the recordings as well. Our next webinar that's coming up, if you would like to tell people about it, is going to be March 25th, so it's next week at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And that one we're going to talk about visitors from registration to follow-up. So we're going to go through the whole visitor process in BNI Connect, starting with what I showed you a little bit today, the visitor invitation to the visitor registration, to then following up with visitors, and again, how BNI Connect ties that all together. Again, that's March 25th at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. All right, well, thank you everybody for being here today. And, oh, can I give the Facebook page information again? I would love to give the Facebook page information again. Facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. Facebook.com/BNI Connect Global. And again, this is where we do all sorts of tips and tricks and webinar reminders and things like that. What we find is it's a great place that when I do a webinar reminder, you can see that a lot of people will share this on their chapter web pages or share it in their own network, and that way we can help get the word out there about these webinars. All right. Excellent. Well, thank you again, everybody, for being here today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Happy connecting.